the Prison City Podcast. When the bars go up, you're officially locked in.
Welcome to the Prison City Podcast. I am the unofficial host, Patrick Cutler. Welcome to today's show. We have a lot to discuss today. We're going to talk about what was possibly the greatest disaster horror film in history, and it's going to be a lot of fun here. Go around the table here really quick, and we'll start out here with Jay Marsh.
Ooh, we started with the plan this time. Proud of you, Patrick. Hi everyone. I've heard about this movie since a couple years ago, and I'm curious to kind of hear about it. So let's get going.
And I'm going to throw it to Kelly there.
Hi everyone, Bitches is here. It's me, I'm Bitches.
And last but not least, Mahone's there.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in again. If you guys listened to the entire thing last time, just reach out to us on social media and tell us why you listened that entire time.
And I'm going to kick it over here. And I'd like to introduce our special guest today. His name is Matthew Freze. He was part of what people would in Hollywood would consider maybe the biggest film disaster in history, Enigma. He played a key role in that. He had a Pizza Hut schedule that did not allow him to be in the film as much as we would like him to. And right now he's doing a lot with his life, but I'm not really sure what. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Freze.
All right. Well, thanks, P. Pleasure to be here on the Prison City Podcast. I'm really excited. I was in the original Enigma. Like there's been a remake. I don't want to say original, but I was in Enigma, and man, Patrick pretty much nailed it. I've been living in this fantasy world for about 20 years of thinking, what a show. My God, Cutler Brothers, you went next level with Enigma. You've been, you know what? I'm at a point in my life right now where I can be honest with myself and I can be honest with you guys and say, oh, that was not a very good show. So I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to be here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Couple things real quick. I just in Patrick's talking there that I kind of noticed. Number one, Jay Marsh, you've never seen Enigma? Like the old me would say, how have you never, what a blockbuster. But the current me says, really? Even with all the talk about it, you haven't gotten a copy? I'm just kind of surprised, but that's okay. And then Kelly, I love your handle right now, Dale. I love that. Well done. So.
And Freze, something you didn't know. So the Pizza Hut hatred goes deep for this movie. And so they actually made it their goal to put them out of business in Deer Lodge and did that successfully.
Yeah.
We're gonna get back.
Hey, Freze, I don't want to be rude, Freze, but do you have pink eye or are you just high as fuck right now?
This eye, look at that son of a bitch. It's been killing me. I was actually going to start with that, say, hey, I'm okay. You don't need to call the hospital. Yeah, it's jacked up. I don't know what's going on there, but I'll be okay. Thanks.
You're like Bob Costas during the Olympics. Remember that when his eye kept getting bigger and bigger?
Yeah, so basically what I want to start out here is just kind of give a little background to our viewers out there in Guatemala.
Here we go again.
The overview of Enigma. This is not the actual foreign film. There's a foreign film called Enigma. This is actually what was going to be at the time the greatest horror film ever created by mankind. And
yeah, it really was. It really was.
So here we are. We're out in Western Montana, a small little nobody town in Deer Lodge, and we're trying to shoot this horror film. And basically, the premise is me and my brother Kelly got together and said, let's try to do a full-length feature film. And the film we want to do was a horror film because we've always loved to do horror films. And basically, me and Kelly co-wrote the script. For those that don't know what that means, it means we wrote half of it each.
Just for the lay person, just in case. Thanks. Yeah.
So starting out there, Kelly, what would you say went into that script writing process, and what did we want to do here with Enigma with filming it in Montana?
Well, it started with a 1992 typewriter and a lot of whiteout. I don't really know. We could put Enigma down all we want, but honestly, for a bunch of guys who've never really done something like that, we filmed a bunch of short films and stuff growing up, but to take on a 90-minute or longer horror film, I think the final product was 45 seconds. Just joking, 45 minutes.
Sex life.
I just remember meeting in Mrs. Fenner's health room. I remember we had like 10, 12 people in there, and we were like casting it and talking about auditions and stuff. And I think like 2 of the people that were actually in that room made it into the film. So, but it was, I think that we put our best foot forward and we produced something, which is more than a lot of people can say. Most people don't even put the pen to the paper.
Yeah, and furthermore, like when I was writing and we had these ideas, I would stay up and I would wake up in the middle of the night with these just brilliant ideas of, oh, this is gonna be so cool, so scary, it's gonna be so freaking amazing. And I put pen to paper, just like Kelly said. And you know what? Most people don't even freaking try. We tried, and well, a lot of things went wrong. We're gonna get into that as we go on with the show right now. But here we are writing the script, come with the ideas, and then it comes to like, well, how do you produce this? We're doing a no-budget horror film. Back then, at the time, there was digital video cameras are just coming out, so we ended up borrowing a video camera from a local Radio Shack guy. Very good guy. His name I'll leave out. I'll just say his name was John Spell, Spell, and
it rhymes with that, right? Yeah.
And we borrowed that for like 3 months or whatever, and he had to take it away halfway through shooting was part of the problem. But what would you say about us running that camera in that situation? You were there. You went in Radio Shack with us, didn't you, Mahoney?
I did, yes. I did go in, and honestly, at the beginning, kind of felt it was exciting. It was new. It was going to be obviously the first movie I was going to be in, and so it felt like, hey, this guy's like cutting us a deal. It felt like maybe he wanted, like, had it taken off, he wanted to be like, okay, I deserve 50% of this because it was shot up my camera. My fucking balls are smelly, but he didn't say that part. But no, yeah, it was exciting. It felt like the right thing to do, and then it turns out it was just kind of a comedy of errors. But that's what you expect for your first big shot like this. Obviously, nothing's going to go right.
It just shocks me that John Smell's balls were smelly.
Yeah, he was a pretty good guy though. So again, you gotta do what you gotta do. I don't know what Mahomes ended up having to do for us to rent that camera for free. You'd have to ask him and John Smell. We'll keep that secret.
I mean, Harvey Weinstein got in a lot of trouble, but for me, that was just what show business was. You suck your way to the top.
I mean, at the time, this is like a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 digital video camera they gave to a bunch of freaking high school kids, and he also gave us the editing system to edit it on, and he let it do.
I see how Radio Shack went out of business now. It makes sense.
And you know what? I think that we owe it to say, even though you took it away and things got confusing, you just said a multi-$1,000 video camera system and the editing system. I want to say thank you to John Snell. Oh, excuse me, I mispronounced his name. John Smell. Sorry about that. I want to say thank you to for helping out with that. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So we got this camera. And we got the script finalized, and we had the meeting in Mrs. Fenner's gym class. If you don't know Mrs. Fenner, just a quick backstory here. The school went on strike because she got suspended temporarily. And who was the person that led that strike? I believe they're on this panel right now. Who led that school walkout?
I don't know if we're just throwing names out there or not, but I'm just sitting here. Yeah. So
all right.
Cool. Good job, J Marsh. It was cool of you to do
that. yeah, J Marsh, appreciate that. Much respect. You must have 3. That's pretty impressive that you organized that.
I think his name was Matt Schmeeze.
So we got this camera, and we start filming everything, and we'll just go to the very beginning scene. A couple scenes we started filming, and it went pretty good. In the opening, we had some good stuff down. This is in kind of more like in May type that type of season, and we're filming stuff, and yeah, the first couple scenes went great, and then we're doing this basketball court scene, and I think Mr. Freze knows, and the documentary, you can watch the documentary. It's online on
Oh man, what a
and he said
Yeah.
in the middle, she's like, who wrote these? They're so stupid. And I, unfortunately, this is kind of one of the downfalls of it. I wrote the character John, and I wanted to play this heroic character, and I tried to mix in some comedy, and the guy just ended up being like a complete. 5 minutes into the film, I was like, I don't want to play this part. This guy's a fucking moron.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I remember filming the scene at EF Duval's junior high basketball court. What a location, first of all. I'm surprised you guys got that. But I felt like Jesus Shuttlesworth in He Got Game. Truly, I mean, it was that good. It was awesome.
We had this basketball scene, and everything's going on, and you know what? When we did the opening sequence up at so again, here's another backstory to it. The script was written entirely. Well, I wouldn't say entirely, but I would say maybe 80% of the script was written on Montana State to be filmed on Montana State property, which people in Arizona might anywhere might find to be a little bit strange that you're filming on state prison property out of nowhere. Because most, even the Shawshank Redemption is filmed at a place that's not currently in operation, but so in the background, though, it's a western Montana town. It's a valley. There's big mountains, everything. There's the state prison's outside of town, several miles on this beautiful mountain range, and above the state prison is where the warden used to stay of that prison. It's like a mile or two above the state prison, up this country road. And they made the warden this big man-made lake. It's almost like a pond, and all this property and stuff, and four-wheelers and all this stuff. So we wrote the script with the idea that we had confirmation that we could film in these locations. So the initial shooting went pretty good, and we filmed a couple shoots at this land. And then somewhere along the way, I guess the state did not want us filming up there. Mahomes, do you know anything about this?
Yes, and I'm excited to hopefully rehash this every 5th episode. We brought this up in the first episode, so hopefully everyone, we have repeat listeners, so I'll do my best to keep it brief. But yeah, it turns out they didn't want high school kids up there, not supervised with cameras. And the boot camp actually at the time started kind of doing some of their drills very near that area because no one was living out at those houses anymore.
Yeah, you know what? Well, I bet if my name was fucking Steven Spielberg, they'd let me up there.
Yeah, they probably would, because
I would think so. Yeah.
Some big studio would probably pay millions of dollars to be on that location. Not
so again.
Hey, Pat, remind me real quick. What was our budget in the film? Do you recall the budget?
Yeah, Kelly has more. Kelly had more with the credits at the end on the budget.
I mean, so far from what I've heard, there's been one dick sucking, and that's it.
Well,
yeah.
You said
we were pretty low in this film. Yeah.
The camera was worth how much? Did you say, Pat?
I would so the fun. Here's a hilarious thing you'll find pretty funny.
Yeah, that was the budget.
No, that camera that we used to shoot Enigma. I went up to Alaska. What years? Okay, I went up to Alaska 7 years later, and that camera at the time was like brand new, and they were still using that type of camera, just swearing by it. This is the greatest thing ever. You got to use it for your broadcast. Like, I'm pretty sure we've used that to shoot Enigma 7 years earlier. At the time when I went to Alaska, they were paying $2,000 for this camera. So rewind back to Montana 7 years earlier. Gosh, you're talking $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah, it was a nice camera. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't know if there was some type of budget. If you want to count gas and tuna fish sandwiches and shit, then yeah, there was some type of budget. But this was a long time ago, and I wasn't drinking at the time, and now I've drank for 21 years straight, so I can't remember all of the details, but I guess that's why we're gonna hash them out.
Yeah, Pat, I don't know if that little anecdote you just told is more an impression or how impressive the Cutler Brothers budget was, or how pathetic Alaska's advances in technology are. So probably the second.
Well, and it's important to remember that the camera he's talking about in this budget was on loan to us. We paid no money to use it at all.
Oh, Mahoney, one of us paid.
Thanks again, Mark. Thanks again, man. I really appreciate that.
Had I not done that, I wouldn't have been able to be passerby number 6 in Swing Time Canteen. So I think it's totally worth it.
You know what? The funny is, we had like a reverse budget. We got a bunch of shit for free. So if you did a reverse budget on it, technically, we got a $4,000 camera for free. We got the film on Montana State Prison land for free.
like technically, we actually need to rebuild Radio Shack, I think, and open it back up.
Multi-$1,000 editing system for free. So here we are, just a bunch of high school kids who just got a video camera from a guy that's likes to touch kids.
Yeah, Smelly, old Smelly. We all remember old Smelly.
Just kidding, that's a joke.
Yes.
And,
yes. It was like you went from like, hey, you guys are being mean to him, like, or whatever, and then you just totally blow us out of the water with.
Yeah. My head just went lawsuit.
Yikes!
Don't worry, no one's watching.
That's true.
Certainly not him. And if he is, thank you again for the camera. That was a joke.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
My thing earlier was a joke.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't really know if any of this is actually a joke. No. Let's continue. So, anyways, 3 high school kids, a couple high school kids, grabbed this $4,000 camera, rented Montana State Prison land, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the prison comes down and says, "Nope, you guys are shut down." And that's where things took a point in this film that changed history. So,
and a note for that, because I know I had mentioned earlier that they were so upset about the Pizza Hut and got that shut down. Also, Cutler Brothers is going to be looking to open up a prison here soon to see if they can get Montana State Prison shut down. All because of this movie.
Yeah.
We don't hold a grudge.
So that obviously was kind of a huge issue. If you like wrote a script to shoot a certain location, then you got to kind of rewrite the script and everything. But and I would honestly say that this is actually the biggest issue in this entire film, is for whatever reason we had a bunch of people that just like I won't say her by name, but like people who like were like seniors in high school at the time or going to their senior year, and their parents would not let them film after like fucking 10 o'clock at night. So it's like, how do you film a horror film at night if their parents won't let them film at fucking night? So that threw another wrench into the sink. And what do you have to say about that, Kelly?
I've just been thinking about the film that happened before Enigma, which was called Cliff Hooters. This is going way the fuck back. Cliff Hooters was a spoof on Cliffhanger, and the way that was filmed was so loosey-goosey, because you talk about people not being able to show up to shoot. We had probably 20, 25 high schoolers in that, and some of them were like, okay, yeah, I got 20 minutes and I got track practice or whatever. So that thing was so fucking choppy. So Enigma compared to that was like fucking Avatar or some shit.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, when you're filming a horror film,
I've never seen Avatar, so apparently that reference didn't land.
I laughed. It hit with me.
So I'm saying here there was like another flaw in our plan was that we did not think that we would have actors or actresses that couldn't stay up past like 10 o'clock because you're filming during the summer and it's supposed to take place at night and they can't go out and film. Right, Freze?
Yeah.
So was that was something we overlooked?
Yeah, you know, we should have filmed in the winter because it gets dark at like 6 and problem solved. Yeah.
All right. Fuck this. J Marsh, chime in.
Yeah, who'd have thought kids' parents wouldn't let them stay out after dark with you? Questionable parenting right there.
I mean, I guess had I not, that's a good point. Like, had I not known you guys super well, and they're like, yeah, so these guys want to take me out into the woods with this camera, and maybe be back by 10. How about
it? And put a plastic bag over my head and lead me around blindly.
If you don't know the Cutler brothers, these folks there in Chile, basically we grew up with the parents who were like, all right, we'll be back whenever. And they're like, okay, we'll see you.
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, apparently some kids' parents give a fuck about them. Our parents were like, hey, yeah, you're going to the kegger? All right, see you on Tuesday.
What's even better yet is like, we're gonna go film on prison property. You cool if your daughter comes and hangs out with us late at night on prison property?
Very safe up there. They're all like in prison, so pretty good spot.
You were saying as a parent you would be skeptical that your daughter's gonna film with a bunch of guys on prison property past 10 o'clock?
A tad. I would say a tad.
So yeah, I guess now as a parent, yeah, that sounds a little weird.
And then moving forward here, so we had those battles that we did not contractually agree to, because I can pull out the contract we have with the state prison. It's pretty black and white what we agreed to.
I'm fairly certain there was no contract.
Yeah, it's written on an Etch-a-Sketch in my parents' garage.
So
it's a little blurry nowadays, but
so just to recap everything that's starting to go wrong with this film. The script was written towards a place we thought we would have access to, and we had like 4-wheelers and all kinds of stuff that somebody told us we would have access to. I'm not sure who that person would have said that, but and then we had we did not.
Was it Alex Jones when he was in 5th grade? And for those of you that can't see, Jay Marsh renamed himself Alex Jones. So we'll get into 2 hours of conspiracy theories. You know why?
We had 15, 60-year-old kids that couldn't go to prison property after 10 p.m.
Yeah, it's starting to sound a little ridiculous, isn't it, Pat?
More details you add, Pat, when you say where and how old. It's like, yeah, of course they're not. You know, it's getting more almost common sense.
And then we have this guy that gives us a $4,000 camera, but he wants to have it back for his weddings and stuff. What?
Oh, I didn't know. I thought he was just being a dick. I didn't know he actually needed it back. Why did I not know that? It's a pretty key detail.
Yeah, I've always hated this man for ruining the potentially the greatest color film of all time. Turns out he just needed his shit back.
Yeah, I guess he didn't to make money, I guess, doing his actual real stuff.
In our defense, we only borrowed his brand new camera for like 2.5 months. So,
but there's some point though in the shooting where it was like we had to halt everything because he needed it for like a 2 or 3 week span or something. And I remember the very last scene shot with Freze was like we started shooting in May. That last scene was like a freaking July or something like that. Because I went to play college football like a real man does, but no. I just talk trash. But I remember that last scene was the last scene in the movie was probably like a week before I had to leave to college.
And I'll tell you what, I don't know if we're ready to go there just yet, but that last scene of the movie, it was hotter than shit that day
Yeah.
because more than one had to dress up and wear the goddamn grocery bag over their head. It was hot.
So I don't want to quite go there yet. I don't know if that's really appropriate for this show, actually. No.
That's like, again, this is a family show. Well, I don't know.
So
Why are we giving away the ending? That's a spoiler. That's on
So-
me. That's on me.
what we're gonna do here is really actually expose the pink elephant, you might say, in the room, and what the final cross into Jesus Christ here. Nail. So bad reference.
Cross.
Just roll through it. Yeah.
The final nail in the coffin here was definitely Matt Freze's pizza schedule. So you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, it's Gail Gaffney. What a great woman, but she did not help us out much with scheduling and where I needed to be and when I needed to be there. But in her defense, as you just said, this film took place over like 9 months of our lives, and so that was kind of unpredictable. Although I'll tell you what, I was thinking about this not too long ago, and I was thinking about why did this not go super well. I don't think it's Pizza Hut's fault. I'm going to say this: it's my fault, but it's not Pizza Hut's fault. The reason it's my fault is this: one of your lead actors has never acted before.
Oh, you
And
don't.
watching it, I'm not good.
No, I think
You
it's
think
because
there'd be
you
someone with some
wanted to.
experience in one of those roles, but instead you took Mark, who has acting experience, and his ability to showcase that acting experience pretty limited in this film.
I think that midnight or beyond curfew for you, Freeze, that was probably the reason.
Yeah, and you were a sophomore in college at the time.
And had like, looking back now, had you ever thought, hey, you know what? Like, this movie's going places. Maybe I could just quit my job and go for it.
I had moments.
Yeah.
Jesus, the biggest Enigma critic in history. Yeah, so we got this guy Freeze, he's trying to go to college, raise money for college. So we just asked him to make the ultimate sacrifice and man up and just say, hey, I can't work for a couple months until they get the camera back. And he said no. So
Yeah, why do you got a full-time job in high school, you selfish piece of shit?
Hey, I was going places. The hut was going to get me places. That's all I know for sure.
So let's go back to Mahone's point there, though, because I never hold grudges at all. Any of us do. After the Pizza Hut schedule was kind of the final nail in the coffin for this. Well, there's some more nails about to come, but basically, what we did as Cutter Brothers Productions, we said eventually, looking back on this, we want to start our own pizza place. Not that we want to make great pizza, but simply because we don't put Pizza Hut out of business for shutting down Enigma. So we found this pizza place, Prison Pizza. Kelly, you want to talk about Prison Pizza for 2 seconds?
Yeah, we found a pizza place and we bought it and put Pizza Hut out of business.
Really well said.
Yeah, great story.
Really well said.
So
Hey, I'm
Awesome.
checking out here for about 10 seconds. I got to move to somewhere where there's better internet, just so you know.
all right, Kelly's to check out there. But it says this is a crazy thing. Prison Pizza, because we're in Dearwash, Montana, where the prison is hosted. If people haven't got that fact by now, then God help you. But they named the prison place, the pizza place, Prison Pizza. Very, very cool place. Made original pizza compared to Pizza Hut style. The funniest thing about Prison Pizza versus Pizza Hut is Pizza Hut was winning that battle the entire time, and then COVID hit, and I got stuck in Deer Lodge. And magically, the second I got stuck at working at Prison Pizza, like Pizza Hut folded shop like a month later. What a coincidence, right?
So okay, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Patrick Keller is the reason for Pizza Hut's downfall.
And I went out there with the big shirts that says Enigma. Below it says "Fuck you, Pizza Hut schedule."
So Pat, like you should have like an Enigma special from, go back and find the first day we started filming Enigma and have an Enigma special at Prison Pizza. That would be great.
I mean, I'll circle back there to your point. The first day. So this is the first time we've ever attempted a full-length feature film. Mahomes plays the villain, the serial killer. The plot's too complicated to rehash. That's another nail in the coffin, I will say. Anyways, we show up. This is still we're filming on prison property. We show up. We had this big cooler of like food and Gatorade and everything. And the first day shooting, we were like so freaking just like pumped up to shoot this film. And we were all out there. It's like, yes, let's go. And we spent like 5 hours shooting like 30 seconds of film. I just remember that first shoot is like so cool. Like, this is how the entire film's gonna go. And then you're like,
yeah, we really set the bar pretty high on that first day.
Yeah.
Just a quick, slightly more serious. I don't know if it's serious or not, but an actual question, Patrick. You know enough about the film industry to be able to answer this, because I think I know, but I don't really know. When a movie is shot, or for that matter, when a television show is shot, it's not shot sequentially by storyline, right? Like scenes are shot, that are late in the film, earlier on in the filming process, because it's more convenient because of the location, all that, right? And when we shot an Enigma, I believe we basically shot the entire film like storyline in order like that. Is that right?
yes, that's 100% correct. A lot of films made are not shot in order at all. I think, and we've shot stuff way out of order. But to your point, like that's one of the things. Again, this, like Kelly said, that kids in high school don't ever try this. So we learned a lot of lessons with this first film. But one of the lessons we did learn is shooting in sequences. Like, we tried to shoot at Enigma 110% in sequence. But again, there are also a lot of unknown variables. If you're shooting within a few months, someone changes their haircut, everything else. So it's like, I don't know, we got kind of tugged into the in sequence. Whereas several years later, we shoot Going Nowhere, our first actual successful full-length feature film. And one of the first scenes in Going Nowhere that we shot was with me and Mahomes. And it happens way later in the film, but we shot that scene first. Remember that?
Yeah, we were super out of order for that one. And that you could tell, I mean, not to jump ahead to that film, but there was an obvious difference in, like, okay, there were some mistakes that we learned from, and that's what it's about. So that was a much better film for obvious reasons, because we still generally didn't know what the hell we were doing, but we knew a lot more what the hell we were doing as compared to the time. I mean, compared to like mega movie filmmakers, it was really well done.
Yeah.
Going nowhere. Easy for me to say. I'm about shit my pants trying to say all those things.
Yeah. The other thing is, though, after Enigma, I went out. We all went out. I wrote two full-length scripts, and both of those films also failed, just like Enigma failed. And so basically, what we had, me and Kelly had, we essentially had 3 failed full-length feature films, and that started with Enigma. But by the time we regroup and say, okay, what went wrong? By the time we shot Going Nowhere, we had fully script, everything was like fully scheduled out. It was very, very tight and crisp when we finally got over that hump to actually like complete a full-length feature film. So yeah, but a lot of lessons learned all start with Enigma, and that's why we're working on completing our our first full-length horror film, Redgate, which will be coming out here, folks, very soon. As soon as I can figure out what Matt Freze's Pizza Hut schedule is.
I kind of feel like Enigma, the way you describe it right there, Enigma is like a basketball team that goes 2-20 with a brand new head coach, where he's like, we're building towards the future. It'll be there.
But I think I'd say like this, and I'll kick this to Kelly after I says Enigma also is like if you ever had that one loss in life, you just never fucking got over that one girlfriend's like, you know what, I'm eventually gonna come back. So I would plead that up though to our current horror film. And our current horror film right now is like, because me and Kelly always came back, like we always wanted to do a horror film. So that's why we're up to our current film now, which is Redgate. And once you kind of feel the same way, Kelly, you always want to go back and actually try to do that horror film we couldn't do.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you guys hear me? I just moved locations.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say, in film, I didn't even know what the word continuity meant until like 5 years ago. So it's like we weren't born filmmakers. We were given a VHS camera, or not given, we took my mom's VHS camera when we were in first or second grade. And that's how we've learned everything by trial and error. And Enigma is definitely supposed to be a full-length horror film, but the product that came out of that, I don't know. A lot of people might not like it, but if you know us and you were friends with us or whatever, it's a really fucking entertaining, fun thing to watch, just for the sheer purpose of this is how to make a movie or how not to make a movie, however you want to look at it. I think Cliff Hooters, though, too, and that's jumping us back again another year or two. I think Cliff Hooters was supposed to be a full-length film, or it was supposed to be a much longer film than anything else we had done as well. But learn as you go. We've done that pretty well. Like, we're in a different spot just because of the doing. We weren't born, Steven Spielberg's son, where everything is taught to you, handed to you. And I think we're, at our mid-50s, we're doing pretty fucking good with the film industry.
So I'm going to go on to the next problem with Enigma. And this one was pretty big. This has nothing to do with Freze's acting, by the way.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
We were trying to film a horror film at night, which obviously, most horror films take place at night. And like, we had zero clue. Like, doing lighting at night and making it look like it's natural and stuff is actually really freaking hard. So we had people, and Mahomes can weigh on this too. We had people running around just with like flashlights, just shining it on the actor. It's like, it looks so like phony and fake.
I mean, yeah, a little bit.
That was in my opinion, that was the single thing that was the most like fake part of the entire. Like, it was like, oh my god, like, you could see the rings around the different levels.
Yes, you could see the rings. Yeah. It was like it was like one of the cheapest flashlights alive too.
Yeah, Freeze, you try to afford a flashlight in high school without a job.
We could have used some of that fancy fucking Pizza Hut money.
Why do you think I worked at the Hut?
That's what I just said. We could have used some of that fucking fancy Pizza Hut money for a nice, I don't know, lighting system if you weren't such a selfish prick like Kelly mentioned earlier.
So, J Mars, why don't you go ahead and weigh in here? I gotta go take a piss.
Nice. So far, to recap, Freeze has a job but is not providing any financial backing for the other people, correct?
I'm glad that's the point you've taken from this so far. Yes.
I never thought about that, but you're absolutely right. I never put a cent in.
You're the investor they wish they had.
I mean, it's not to say, like, again, he brought up the point of like, hey, he didn't have any acting experience and we gave him the lead role. I don't know. It's kind of, you give the lead role to get a guy who has a job and maybe hope he connects the dots. But
well, Freeze, I'm going to call your bluff on this because, yeah, you didn't technically get on stage and do much acting. I know you probably did a little bit with Missoula Children's Theater or something, but you started in your mom's basement with the improv.
I was outstanding as pumpkin number 1.
Oh, number 1. That's up there.
Yeah.
But you weren't gun shy when it came to being in front of a little crowd. I mean, Mahoney didn't really start acting until his junior year or something.
You're right about that. I'm glad we got a shout out to Kath's basement there because it was that was some fun stuff. But that's also in front of, for people who don't know, we're talking about we had a lot of just kind of in casual improv, just the kind of the four of us, the fourth being Matt Cutler and or five of us, excuse me, the fifth being Matt Cutler and stuff like that in my basement growing up. It was a lot of fun, but in front of an audience on a stage or in front of a camera that's going to be viewed, it is a little bit different. But okay, fair enough, Kelly, you got me on that one.
Yeah.
We didn't. In your defense too, and everyone's defense early on, we didn't really take that many shots. Albert Cutler's notorious for being like one of the boom mic operators, and he said, "Oh, should we shoot that again?" And we're just like, "No, fuck it, it's good." You take one shot, two shots. Now you look at you look at the new horror movie Redgate, Pat's film here, and some of those shots we took, I don't even know, 10 times or more. That's what a real film does,
Yeah, and I also
the only time that in Enigma that I can recall that we took like multiple shots was the infamous car scene. Oh my word.
Oh god.
There's no way to edit that one in post.
Yeah. I like to go through the special effects though with Enigma. It's like one of them, it was just me, Kelly, and this guy named Wolfie Winters, and Kelly's filming, and Kelly had wrecked this little red car, so it was just like sitting there. So it looked like this car completely wrecked on the side of the road for no reason, just sitting there. So I walk out of the garage, all of a sudden I see this car, and it's smoke's coming out of it and everything. So we had planted this little fake like yellow smoke bomb into this car. So I'm going over to check it out. And it was like the cheesiest looking thing, but I was like, okay, there's another free thing for our budget. We got, yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool, honestly. Like for compared to like the flashlights, I thought that was kind of a cool effect there for, a smoke bomb sitting in my parents' garage for the last 17 years.
And honestly, I kind of thought I guess I differ from everybody else. I thought some of the flashlight stuff were like in the dark were some of my favorite shots, because if you're out there and you're getting chased by something in the dark, you're probably going to put a flashlight on it if you got it right. So I don't think it was all that bad. I actually like I said, it was probably some of my favorite shots from the film. So maybe I'm just an asshole.
And it depends on the context of the shot too. Like the ones you're just describing, absolutely. The ones in, again, the infamous car scene where it's like a close-up where we're calm and you just see like on the side of my face, like the lines on the side of my face. Not as much there, but yeah.
So to go back here, at what point, I'm trying to think, what point did we lose the camera? Because I think I think everything was shifting at the same time. I felt like we lost the camera maybe somewhere in June, and was that car? I think that car scene might have been the last sequence we shot, maybe in June, or did we do that all in like a week session? Do you remember, Kelly?
Honestly, I didn't even remember losing the camera for a point of time until you brought that up earlier. But I feel like, maybe it's just because of the movie, but I felt like the last shot we shot was actually the last scene in the movie. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just that seems like that was it. And then we, the thing happens, no spoiler alerts or whatever. The big climax happens and the show's over.
I'm just saying, like there was some point we had to take a delay between. So this is kind of what I'm alluding to, is like, so after everything happened, we discovered that 15-year-olds, their parents didn't want them out at midnight on state prison property. All these different aspects got kicked off the state prison property. Totally unfair in my opinion, but but anyways, when all these things kind of came to light, we basically had to sit down in the middle of the film and we had to rewrite the entire like fucking script to the ending. So the entire second half of that film was basically rewritten by us, because and that's what I want to say is like, because we had a time there. It was this shot during? No, this wasn't shot during Swing Time Canteen, was it? That was the following year.
No, this was 2000. Swing Time Canteen was 2003, which means you would have graduated. Did you was that before your senior year that we filmed Enigma, or?
That
After
was
you graduated.
after I graduated. So this would have been the year for Swing Time Canteen.
As Patrick brought up, he was on his way to college to play football like a man, so it had to be after our senior year.
So
Yeah, it
yeah.
was 2003.
Okay, so this was during. So I think we did have a little bit of a break during Swing Time Canteen, and I want to say the last sequence shot before that was it might have been the party scene up at the prison property. I think that was the last scene shot, and then we had a break because he needed Mr. Spelly needed the camera back, and then so
I mean, the timeline makes sense. If it was right around June, that's kind of like peak wedding season, right? For a guy who's gonna, timeline makes sense.
True, yeah.
Especially in Montana, where summer weddings are the thing.
For sure. Definitely not like it'd be super weird to get married like late April, early May.
So yeah.
What kind of selfish prick would do that?
Hey, but I think I want to say we basically had 2 or 3 weeks to kind of rewrite the script and then come back, and I think we basically got the camera back in like mid-July or something, and basically had a week to film the rest of the movie right before I went to college. And so we went up the one day we went up one side of the mountain, the next day we went up the other side of the mountain. But yeah, we have this infamous car scene that Freze is talking about, and basically Kelly's character gets killed. Not a spoiler alert here, but that's what's going to happen. And we're in this car and we're trying to do serious acting in this car just at night, and it was a struggle, right?
Yeah, I mean, we stayed up all night long, we're trying to cram this thing in, and we filmed all day. I don't remember the exact schedule, but I just remember getting up there and we had a campfire, and we're essentially having a good time all night long. And then I think we woke up at like 7 a.m., maybe earlier.
I think it was earlier than that, yeah.
Yeah, whenever the sun comes up, and everyone was delirious, especially Pat.
Yeah.
And it was tough to film that scene.
Yeah, so we're up in the mountains of Montana, and it's beautiful scenery. We wake up, we basically slept overnight in this car because the killer is on the loose, and we just thought that was the best idea. Again, we had to rewrite the script. I'm sorry, folks. It was kind of hard to rewrite the entire thing the way through. So
and for the record, you guys are drinking Gatorade, correct?
Yeah, we were in high school, man.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we were good kids. Remember that?
Yeah. Clean as shit. Yeah.
Yeah, so we couldn't stop laughing. The problem I saw before too is a correction I made when I started doing reggae is reggae we have professional actors and stuff. We actually kind of upgraded in the last 20 years. Believe it or not. But still I still saw the dialogue. Enigma taught me that dialogue, super serious dialogue for horror films. Frick, it's a lot harder than it looks to make it look real. And that night and that day, that pretty much proved it. So we shot this and we were laughing. I was laughing the entire sequence. Marianne, she was in there, Freze laughing. We were laughing the entire frickin' sequence. We had a thing where I can Freze jumps out.
Oh my god.
So actually I go over first, open up and see that somehow Kelly's character's dead in a truck. We never actually show it. And then I try to tackle Freze. No! it is the worst acting sequence I've ever seen.
It's if you haven't been lucky enough to see the film, whoo man, where to begin? Yeah, it was a little bit rough for that. And in fact, if you watch it, there's some scenes earlier on, and as we reference, this is going to happen when you're making something new, something like that. There's going to be things that is like, wait, that doesn't make sense, or it's like, oh my god, that's terrible. Something that gives you a giggle. This is the scene where you start to go, wait, is this a horror or a comedy? Like it was pretty bad. It was like on the fringe of those two.
There's supposed to be a set of lines there, but we ended up cutting all of it out. Kelly did, because all the lines I was laughing on. So the lines went down to like 2 or 3 lines, and they're like, okay, let's go hiking.
Right. Well, the maturity level too of our age of high schoolers, that do improv and Freeze's mom's basement and stuff. The maturity level isn't necessarily there, but 20 years later, you look at it, you can make any piece of dialogue nowadays emotional, funny, whatever you want, sentimental. You can make it whatever you want. You just have to buy into it and believe it. And I just don't think we were quite there. And the other thing we've learned is the script doesn't really fucking matter. The dialogue doesn't really matter as long as you say it naturally in the gist of what you're supposed to say. I think that's what people are looking for is, the natural side of human emotion or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all seen movies where the script, the acting's very, very good, but the script just kind of sucks. I would say both sucked in this film.
I would have to agree.
Just a quick sidebar. I don't think we need to keep saying spoiler alert. I think the movie's almost 18 years old. I feel like
the ship has sailed at this point.
I think people are going to watch it. They would have watched it by now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jay Marsh, by the way.
Hey, by the way,
I wasn't going to say it earlier, but you guys said you filmed this in 2003. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, fuck, I was 7. You guys are old. Jeez.
Yeah, dude, we are old as shit.
And that's why I don't understand.
You could have starred in the film, Jay Marsh. You could have been the little kid on the street who's like, "Don't go into the woods" or something like that while you're licking a lolly.
That's what I was so mad. Why would Jay Marsh's parents not let him go out past 10 with us?
Yeah, exactly. What's he doing?
What would be funny is after somehow this podcast takes off and Enigma just becomes this cult following. Ends up making $60 million.
And Jon Snow gets half of it.
John Still. Hey, so yeah, I'm actually gonna post the link in the feed here for this Enigma. Below in the comments, everybody can check out Enigma on all platforms here. It's on YouTube.
Ooh, I know what I'm doing tonight.
It's on YouTube, and anybody can Google Enigma.
Plans canceled and plans remade, just like that.
Hey Pat, or Mahoney, speaking of it being like a cult following, it kind of a little bit is, not for a ton of people, but it seems like whether it's a podcast or something else, a documentary, it seems like we're reuniting on Enigma every 5 years.
Oh my God.
I don't see that ending anytime in all of our lives.
No, me neither. And I feel like the man who's the de facto host of this podcast is the champion of us, always coming back.
you guys would know the answer to this better than I do, but I believe this is episode 5 of Prison City Podcast. How many of 5 episodes has Enigma been referenced in?
The very first. I think that's important to know.
Yeah,
for sure.
Took up a significant amount of the first, if I recall, but
longer than I
probably
expected.
Probably every one of them, just
in one way or another.
Yeah.
Like my favorite story about Enigma was so Kelly back then we had our roles reversed, and we were gonna have Kelly's always gonna be the director, editor, and everything, and I was gonna be the main actor or whatever, kind of like Bruce Campbell or whatever. But so I acted it, and then I gave it to Kelly. Plus, I was going to college. Kelly still in high school. Kelly worked 4 straight months or whatever, editing it at this guy's house or whatever, and
It doesn't sound sketchy.
In Radio Shack.
Within Radio Shack, by the way.
Which was also his house.
His house. It was his house. Yes. So I come back from college and I was like, was it done? And my last communication with Kelly, he didn't give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Okay, but when I came back, this is before cell phones, I had no idea what the progress was on the film or anything. No clue. So we're doing Christmas and underneath the tree, there's this weird rectangular shaped thing. And it's from Kelly. I open it up, and it's literally the VHS tape of Enigma that he completed. It's like, oh, this is fucking sweet. And the funniest thing is, the first time we actually watched it, we made a big deal about it, and we actually took it to Freze's basement. That was the first time I watched it, honestly. And we popped it on, and I never laughed so fucking hard in my life.
Yeah.
That's because Matt Freze could afford a VCR because he had a job back then.
Now, you were at that screen, right, Mahomes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was saying we all got together, went to his basement because that's where he used to do improv, and we watched it, and it was just holy fuck. With that said, in all honesty, though, Kelly did a very, very good job editing it. You're high, you're handed a dumpster fire and stuff.
Look, you're giving a pile of shit. You're gonna get a pile of shit coming out of it. I mean, that's life. So.
Those are the best takes that I could get, man. It was like editing the bloopers of a film to make a legitimate film.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's funny.
Yeah, and that was my worst Christmas. No.
So Patrick, I gotta ask you then, what was your favorite part of the film? And I'll let you either the filming or just the final product. What was your favorite thing?
Oh, geez. I thought you've watched that documentary 500 times by now.
I feel like I'm the damn host all of a sudden. It's like, okay, Patrick, let me ask you.
Oh,
sorry.
So again, you learn lessons and everything you do. I'm glad we did it. It was a lot of fun. I'm not pissed off about it, for the record. It's just a learning lesson, and I will never financially support that Montana State Prison again. I'll just say that.
I don't think you have a choice. It comes out of that.
But all the lessons we learned through that entire process. My favorite part was we came together that last fucking morning, and we were filming. It was morning, and I was passed out or whatever. I don't know how he explained that, but I was covered in
Gatorade.
Yeah, get whatever. And I was like down there, and we had a really good final day of shooting where it was like really good. We had one of our actresses out there was covered in blood, and Kelly did a really good shooting it. And the entire, like, looking at the entire film, the very last day of footage was actually really, really good. So I would say it's kind of weird. I like the last day, but I also thoroughly enjoyed the first day of shooting when we're sitting in this gigantic cooler and all this stuff. Like, yes, we're making a movie. Let's go. So it's like, I like the first day and last day is my best.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, out of all of our films, we're so much better nowadays. And I thought it'd be funny but when one day we actually land a film like nationally or whatever, I think it's going to be so funny to look back on this. And if it's a cult following, people are going to be like, obsessed with, what else these guys do? Then they're going to listen to Enigma, and all these Enigma podcasts and shit like that. But what I thought was super interesting, and I remember this to this day, was that it felt more like a real film to me than anything else we've done, almost even Redgate, because it's like it's almost a job now. Like, we got our focus on, we're not fucking around, we're trying to get the best shots and blah blah blah. But Enigma, just being up there, not knowing what the fuck we're doing, in a beautiful location with a beautiful camera. Jenny Krisnock, I probably shouldn't drop her name, but she was running in the first scene. It's a girl from our high school. I had a big crush on her, and we ended up dating later on. But the whole feeling of that just felt like a legitimate movie, more than any other movie we've ever done, in my opinion. It's because I think we were fascinated with the process. And now I'll go fuck myself.
Thanks. I just wanted to see how long I could let the dead air sit on that one.
We did pretty good. Really.
I think everyone's crushed.
I was like, is this thing timing out? I see J Marsh right there looking at me.
I was technically my first ever acting, I think I mentioned this in one of these episodes, was in Cliff Hooters. Was the first time I ever acted in anything, and that was the end of our freshman year. And so obviously from that to this was a monumental jump. And then again, I think we made a big jump just overall. I think especially in like doing more than one take or looking for a better angle on things in Going Nowhere. And so like I said before, I'm excited to see Redgate and just see how far you've come since Enigma. I hope that like maybe there's like a post-credit scene with a bloody grocery bag head guy just as a nod.
As a little homage.
Yeah.
It's almost, I don't know if Pat knows this, but this is an actual spoiler alert. The killers in Redgate, we sat around and round tabled it. Pat says, what would be scary? What can we do here? Who can be the killer? The killers in Redgate, in my mind, actually emulated the bloody bad guy in Enigma. I thought of that. I'm like, that's not a shitty fucking idea. I know we make jokes about it. But anyways, once you watch the film, just have that in your mind because they do emulate that character a little bit.
Actually, might as well just call it Enigma 2. Not to put it out there for Enigma, but do not look up the Enigma foreign film that millions of people saw. Look on Cutler Brothers' YouTube page for Enigma, and you will find it. It's the greatest horror film that was never made.
You'll put it in the description, Pat.
Yeah, we put it in the description here.
Okay.
So let's get back to where we were here. The circle of the wagons, everybody.
Circle the wagons.
So, basically, we got the camera back, and we had, I think, like a week to film everything. And we went up one side of the mountain, filmed a bunch of stuff. The next day, went up another way, and the rest of the shooting went pretty good. I mean, we did a lot of cool stuff. Had to cut out stuff, had to change plot lines and stuff like that. One of the other flaws with the movie, and this might sound shocking to you and Mahomes Freze, or you might not find this shocking at all. To this day, to showing, and I thought the plot was pretty obvious. I think we had a big twist at the end. To this day, I've never shown Enigma to a new person, and they have actually understood the plot. I mean,
I believe that. I mean, yeah, that's very plausible.
So, I'm not gonna tell the whole plot because I don't want to ruin it for Jay Marsh, who's gonna stay up all night watching it.
Well, I stay up for 45 minutes,
and we're gonna have our tens of fans who are gonna click on that link and go nuts.
Yeah, I don't know if the internet's ready to handle the amount of people who are going to click on that here coming up pretty soon.
Enigma link in the comments. The plot. I'll give away one thing about the plot. The guy has a bloody Safeway bag on his head.
And you didn't want any part of that shit.
I think it's going to be funny. One day if we land something, it'll be like, oh fuck, it's escaping me. Who's the guys that did like Slammin' Salmon, Super Troopers? Those guys.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be funny if anything ever lands and they go, oh yeah, that guy, and then they look back at our old films and they look at Freze and go, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, this is other douchebag. Good lord.
Is that the assistant general manager to the Cody, Wyoming Pizza Hut?
Green River, can we at least be accurate in this podcast?
Sorry. I didn't want to give away your location just because our fans are rabid. So
yeah. I believe John Smell lives in it, Cody.
So I like going back to what you said, we were talking about the plot of Enigma and how far we've come as a theater film production company. It's so crazy. So we had Enigma, who I just said, not a single person I ever met has actually ever understood that plot without me explaining it for several hours afterwards. So we do a rough cut, a super, super rough cut screening of our latest film, Redgate. And this is way back in October. So this is, when I say rough cut, I mean, no final audio, no final music, no final video, just a long, rough cut that makes the film painfully hard to watch because it's so long. And so we come back and we film this. We show this entire rough cut to a screen to a test audience just to get ideas or whatever. And the main comment they said after the film was like, "You know what? I really had no idea what that film was about."
So it's pretty straightforward.
So would you say lesson learned on that?
A little bit, but I think that it was a test audience, and I think some of the stuff is so different that they didn't really appreciate the artistic quality of it.
I mean, if you're showing a rough cut, it's going to be, again, the idea is a rough cut. You're not trying to.
I'll say this: when you actually watch the film, it's like we basically come out and say, "Well, Jason Voorhees is running around in the woods, he's killing people," and then they get killed the next day. Yeah, I didn't know who was killing those people.
Sounded like an opening to the game, Mafia game.
Yeah, heads down, thumbs up.
And apparently, you know, I always enjoyed the subplot that the killer is he like kryptonite for him was a vehicle. Like if you would got in the vehicle, closed the door, apparently you can't possibly be killed. Like we stayed overnight, laughing the whole night in the car, and it was like, yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
No chance he breaks in.
No one else picked that up besides you.
Again, we had to change the script around a little bit, or a lot actually, but the lines the next morning. That's what got me laughing. Phrases like the lines the next morning. Did you sleep? I can't believe I slept last night. It's like, who the fuck was sleeping in that situation?
Pat, talking about the plot and I didn't understand it, blah blah blah. To develop a cohesive plot from start to finish, we made a ton of films for all of you guys who were in them, besides 7-year-old Jay Marsh over there. But we'd film, and Freze knows this, we'd film, 10-minute short films, 15-minute short films, maybe. And it was hard even in those. We'd be like, okay, we stabbed Martin Reese dead in the face. Okay, now what happens? Then we just sit there going, what happens? Let's kill someone else, So to put together a cohesive plot for 45 minutes, let alone an hour and a half, 2 hours, that is an insane thing to stay on the tracks, especially when you're making serious movies with a bunch of comedians,
Yeah. Kelly, with that said, we've done a lot of scripts together. Do you remember the script we started, which is basically an Enigma spoof? We did like a spoof horror film, which is made it dumb as hell. Do you remember that script? We never got very far with it. We made it like 10 pages in, then quit on it.
I don't remember shit from junior high. I actually don't remember that. No.
So the highlight of Enigma is we finally end the ending or whatever, which made no sense to anybody. And then the credits roll, and Kelly did a bang up job on the credits there. Tell us about that.
Well, I didn't want the movie to end at 44 minutes, so I decided to do a minute of credits. We had I don't know, 7 people in the show. How do you run credits for 7 people? So I put everybody in there, even Mahoney's mom, who made us lunch one day. That's not even a joke.
Remember the wireless? That was the other thing. We got free wireless mics from this guy. And the wireless mics, again, I hate wireless mics now that I've dealt with them so much, but the wireless mics just freaking sucked. Remember that?
Yeah. And if I recall, the lighting and sound guy who we have not mentioned somehow in the last hour, Matt Cutler, he needs to take some blame here. I mean, honestly.
He was young at the time, and he was really new to the industry. So I think it's pretty weird of you to, as someone who was employed and didn't contribute, throw him under the bus.
The one sequence you're fighting with Matt, and you're like, Jesus, can you fucking sit down and stop moving around? Fuck you piece of shit.
Yeah, we got in a few fights. That was the same night that we fired Albert Cutler because he wanted to retake a shot. We're like, no, get the fuck out. There's the door.
Hey, come on, John. The dumbest sequence. That I don't know. Everybody should watch Enigma as a documentary experience, almost to see what not to do.
Oh man.
Well, it's crazy how Matt did the tech for that. It's kind of like we just said, oh, tech guy, here's a boom mic, here, run this shit. But it's crazy that now, 20 years later, how far he's come with the tech end of things. I mean, it's ridiculous. Pat and Matt are great editors. Matt could do anything with sound or lights or whatever. It's so fucking stupid how good he is looking back. I mean, but then you look how better actors we are and shit nowadays. It's just I just think we've all come a long way, right, Jim Marsh?
So if I understood what you're saying here, this summer we need to just shot for shot remake. Is that the words I'm hearing? I don't know if I feel like that's how I'm interpreting that.
I would be down. I think we could remake Enigma in literally like 2 days, like go camping. I think we could remake the entire film 100 times better in 2 days.
I would say this.
We already have a problem. We can't get on prison property. We already know that.
I would say. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say we'd have to sneak on now because I'm not sure how strong my ties are. So.
I would say this: when you guys finally sit down, Mahomes, you and Freze sit down and watch Redgate when it finally gets millions and millions of dollars in the box office, you will notice a bunch of stuff that's very Enigma-like within that film. Shot completely different stuff, but you will notice a lot of I don't say references to Enigma, but you will notice a lot of the same format of storytelling. They're going up in the woods. A lot of things are very similar. In fact, you could say it's basically a remake of Enigma called Redgate.
Sounds good. Sounds like a good film.
Now, Jay Marsh, you haven't seen Redgate yet, have you?
I have not. I'm still waiting for it.
You know what we should have done before this podcast, because we obviously are all involved with Enigma. We should have had Jay Marsh watch it so that we could get some fresh eyes on that.
He's been like a fifth guest. What have you said, like 20 words in the last hour and a half?
He speaks Spanish, you dick.
Wow, of course. Freze has to always just go there. Again, this is a family podcast.
Oh, I was going to make the other point I was going to make. Another thing we learned, back to the flashlights with Enigma. So in Redgate, and you've seen horror films shot like this, it's like, well, why the hell would we go up there and mess with a bunch of dark shooting scenes and stuff with lighting and everything else? We had generated stuff up there, so we could have done it technically, but it's like, we just said, fuck, why mess with all that stuff? So Redgate is, trying to think, okay, there's one night scene, I guess, technically. Redgate, beyond one scene at the beginning, is a 100% film shot during the day. So that will give you something to think about.
That will give me something to think about. It's very rare to have a 100% daylight horror film. So,
but I mean, you got Dawn of the Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that like 90% happened during the day. So with that said, going back to that scene where we were laughing and stuff, it's like, yeah, I never ended any. Oh, this is a spoiler for Redgate. There was never a scene I will ever end again with the killers chasing them at night and they just go to bed, because I will never have that happen again.
That's fair. That's a good note to take from that.
Yeah.
So that's what happened in the middle of Enigma, was like people getting chased by killer. Then like they're going, you know what? I'm tired. Let's take nap time. Then killer was also like, I'm agree, nap time. Like,
Hey, we were in the car, and as I said before, killer proof car.
I mean,
Solid with the plot.
it hurts a little bit coming from a 7-year-old, judging us that harshly.
Hey, Mahoney, and this leads to a second question, but how long would you say it took us to film one kill scene in Enigma? In reality, how long would you say it took to kill someone?
Like the actual shot?
Yeah, like from start to finish, filming wise, out in the field. You do this. How long do you think it took to kill the hardest kill scene? How long did it take, would you say?
15 minutes.
Jeez.
Okay.
But again,
in Redgate, this is the second follow-up thing. In Redgate, my kill sequence, the first kill sequence, we shot all fucking day and didn't get done until like 3 p.m. We started in the morning. So that's the difference between where we were then and where we are now. And we were fucking exhausted. We're like, Jesus, we got to run around again and get our head smashed open with a hammer. It was just fucking ridiculous.
I love that Kelly thinks that all fucking day means being done at 3 p.m. Like I just love that's your definition of all day.
Good night, everyone.
The problem we had with Nip again, we tried to squeeze everything into like one night, pretty much. So it was like we had all these scenes that were supposed to take days, or and it was like in one night. Where Redgate, we could stretch everything out to like an entire day. The same thing. So we did similar stuff with Redgate, where with Enigma we were dealing with like 15 or 16-year-old kids on state prison property, and we said that was not a good idea for this film.
Yeah, I think maybe 25 minutes. I think I killed Marianne 4 separate times, and it wasn't so much like, it was more of like, we didn't like the blood and we didn't like her scream in like the first couple takes. So maybe 20 minutes.
But yeah, so for Redgate, we actually went up to these super remote lake places or whatever. And Kelly told me a year before, because Kelly's like, hey, we just got down from these places. It's super remote, no cell service. You can only hike in there. We should do a horror film up there. I was like, that's a terrible fucking idea. How are we supposed to get equipment up there or anything? So then COVID hits. I get stuck down to Montana in March, and I was visiting my kids from Alaska, and I got stuck down there. And more time goes on, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do this. This is gonna be fun. So we actually spent a good week straight, basically, with generators and all this equipment and 4-wheelers going to these places in the middle of nowhere, these lakes, super remote. And we spent a good week actually going at it super hardcore. And I hope you guys enjoy the film that comes out tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
So I guess release date.
That'd be amazing, right? And
Just
especially
like
because
how it drops.
there's like
Sorry.
nothing else going on in the world. Like, it's MLB opening day. There'd be nothing to go against, you know?
I know, yeah. I released tomorrow out of nowhere.
Well, I know Mahoney will be going to the Redgate premiere. And with that segue, let's talk about COVID the rest of the podcast.
Actually, I do believe it's about time we say to wrap things up here.
To wrap things up.
We should have said that a long time ago.
All right, to wrap
Because
things
you know
up.
that means an hour.
I know. And I'd like to keep it under 2.5 hours this time.
And to wrap things up here, folks, check out Enigma. It'll be all over YouTube.
It will be now. It will be now.
We'll post a link in the chat here, or check it out on YouTube. Cutler Brothers Productions version of Enigma. I'm sure it's not too hard to find.
You know, we place a lot of blame too. You know, I don't know if it's joking or whatnot on the Pizza Hut schedule, on the camera, on the prison, whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, we definitely got to take some blame on our own shoulders, Pat, because if you look at Redgate, it was concisely scheduled, like out 10 days, 9 days. And we're like, it's this, and this. If you can't do it, then you're not fucking in it. But we were so loosey-goosey, just, pack your bags. No, fuck you. Get in the car. Let's go, you know. So I think that's a no in the future, which we've obviously figured out, you know, with the last couple films.
I think going
Yeah,
back
you
to
know, Kel, I'm glad you said that, Kel, just because I feel, you know, I hear Patrick say it a lot. And sometimes it's, you know, it's in a group text or something like that about how the Pizza Hut schedule ruined Enigma, that kind of thing. And I think it's hard to assign blame anywhere. But, you know, if you were to blame one person, you know, for the failure of Enigma, it's really hard to put blame anywhere. It really is. So
100%. It's hard. That's hard to disagree with. And so, Matt, I ask you now, is like, your failure there as an actor did that make you feel like so small that you had to become a referee to show everyone I'm in charge?
it's about me. It's me. That's what I like to say
all I can say is thank God most of our audiences only listen to the audio version of this.
Hey, Freze, how long have you been planning that shit, by the way?
I wrote this at 3:30 this afternoon, and I was like, I'm gonna get these motherfuckers. I'm gonna get them.
That's hilarious.
Well, let's try to wrap things up here, boys. J Marsh, what were you doing when you were 7 years old?
Oh shit!
That's how you wrap it up.
Actually, Like, serious question, just because I want to see how old this is going to make me feel. Like, what cartoons and like TV shows were you watching when you were 7?
This was nothing. I didn't have TV till like I was in like junior high. So like old Friends VHSs, but that was it.
So more of a like Debbie Does Dallas stuff for you, or
Like I don't even idea. Like no idea. I literally did not have TV until I was like in junior high. So like blank screen and like old school Nintendo 2K.
what I love is you didn't even get that joke. Debbie Does Dallas is
Yeah,
like
right there, right there.
it's like the
Nothing.
original porno.
Nothing.
Like
Yeah.
porn.
But seriously, J Mars, who was the first girl who screwed and did she bleed?
Wow.
Don't worry. No one watches past the 45-minute mark.
Oh, perfect.
And like with this like vocabulary skills, and you're wondering why people will let their kids hang out with you after 10 p.m. at night.
I was gonna say, yeah. Kelly's like, yeah, well, we got together, got a full schedule. Yeah, and we weren't trying to get 15 and 16-year-olds to fill in state prison property at midnight.
Wrong.
Oh, did you
J Marsh, I want to continue on this, J Marsh. Where were you when you were 7? You didn't live in Deer Lodge, right? Where were you?
No, I was in East Helena.
Oh, okay.
Like East, yeah. I'd moved to Deer Lodge till 2nd grade. So like
Fucking
y'all would have been in
fucking
college
East
by then.
Helena.
The cheaters, right, Freze?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even want to get started on it.
That's crazy. I think next week, Pat, we should bring on a guest or do a subject, a topic that J Marsh knows a lot about, because he hasn't talked in like 2 weeks.
Well, in fairness to Jay Marsh, I think he just hates Tony Safal, and that's why he didn't say anything last week.
Can you imagine if this was the actual Joe Rogan podcast? Just throwing everyone
Also,
under the bus.
Correct me, I think he knew what this show was about. Like, he could have watched the goddamn video prior to Reno right now. I'm just...
So
It's only available at Blockbuster.
Right.
It's a discount video. But
Let's let him talk,
That's
folks.
Well, like as of today, you've done more work for this podcast than I have, with your writing a little post-it note to like blame the prison thing, which was hilarious. So on episode 1, Pat literally bitched about that like the day before we started this. Like he literally bitched about it the day before we started the podcast, just blaming Mahoney's dad, just son of a bitch, kick us off the land. And it's just
so
hilarious. And somehow
hilarious.
it's still a subject.
Well, it's taken a long time for me to get over that.
and clearly,
Over it
it's,
yet.
finally
Yeah.
you've closed that book, and it's got to be so cathartic for you.
Healing power.
Hey, J Marsh, can you spell the word cathartic, please, now?
No.
All right. Well, this is a weird way to wrap things up here, folks. But,
We wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Jay Marsh, you know what? What's something you want to talk about next time, man? What do you like?
I don't. What do I like?
What are you into?
What day is it? Is it Wednesday?
Yeah.
Shit.
you know, we
I
could
watch
talk.
Scratch Go for a living.
Dude, we could. Does anybody want to do a fucking UFC podcast next week?
No.
No, honestly, when you do like an Enigma companion, like let's watch it and comment on it in the background. Like movie Science Theater 3000, we'll throw it on. Half of us already in the same house anyway.
Yeah, we've actually already done that. We are 10 years ahead of you on that.
But I think I was thinking about what you were saying though earlier. Is like, what if there's a way, and I could probably figure it out, but a way that we all get on the Zoom chat and I play Enigma on the main screen and we just like fucking comment on it the entire time.
And then just record it though. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should
Just-
probably do that in a couple of podcasts, let this one cool down,
This is a hot topic right now.
Like-
Let's
I mean, this one, like tomorrow, this will be #1 Apple podcast. So we got to just let the fans like get a chance to watch it, right? And then we like kind of watch it with them. It would be like a special thing.
Yeah, but to wrap things up here, guys, to our audience
Okay,
out there,
that's the fourth one. We only got one more, Mahoney.
Could you imagine if he had to say that for every episode, like in 10 weeks? He's doing it, I don't know, 15 times. You like that? It's Powell County High School math.
Thanks, Lynn.
if anybody wants a really good laugh tonight, go to the Cutler Brothers YouTube page and put on Enigma. Just search it. It's supposed to be a horror film, but it's really quite hilarious to watch, right? All right.
Absolutely.
Are we on our final last word segment yet?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to go watch Enigma, so let's wrap this shit up.
All right, final last words, Freze.
Well, it was a pleasure being here. I'll tell you, there's a lot of shit that just in talking about this, little things that I had forgotten about. I totally forgot about the scene at the beginning with Ginny Chrisnot. It might be my favorite scene too, when Killer slashes and the zoom in of just and then blood. I totally forgot about that. So I'm excited to watch it again and just relive greatness. Really, that's all I'm gonna do.
That was the worst effect in the entire film. There was like this blood cloth thing on her knee, and it falls down her. I don't know what Matt Cutler. I don't know. Well, again, he was early in his special effects.
He was learning.
He was learning. He had a condom or something, or a douchebag raw over thing. All right, Kelly. Last words.
Just thanks, Freze, for hosting. This has been a fun one. I really do love Enigma. I love everything that we've all been involved with throughout history. So I really am. I think I'm going to go watch it. You know, it's only 45 seconds. Okay, I'm done making that joke. I am going to go watch it, but thank you very much for coming on here. And yeah, for all of you listening out there, aspiring filmmakers, the key to it all is just fucking doing it. It's gonna suck. Trust me, it's gonna be fucking awful. We still haven't figured it out at all, but we're, that far ahead of anybody else that's starting today. So start today if you want to do it, and just make things that you think's funny and you think scary and whatnot, and don't fucking worry about what Jay Marsh says, because that's bullshit. When he puts you down.
And Mahone's last words.
Honestly, I do think don't listen to 7-year-old film critics. That's never going to get you anywhere. Like, no matter what happens in life, some 7-year-old who, I don't know, lives in East Helena without a TV telling you how to make your shit. Like, I don't know that kid. I don't want to fucking know that kid. Anyway, sorry, Jay Mark. That's all jokes.
Sorry. I'm like
that.
I don't hold grudges.
Yeah. Anyway, it's all out of love, obviously. And remember, if you do this, make sure to, it's okay to make jokes about it years later, but maybe send a thank you to the guy who lets you borrow his $10,000 worth of equipment. But anyway, again, subscribe, listen, tell your friends. You get it. You get the whole thing. I mean, we're on a fucking rocket ship right now. Like, I'm barely hanging on.
All right. And Jay Marsh, your last words.
I will watch Enigma when we watch it on the podcast, because I want my first time watching it to be with all you guys, so I can make fun of you guys right then and there.
I like that.
And I don't want to pre-make any jokes, no, but it was fun. Glad I got to be a guest on a podcast I co-founded, so it was nice.
I get that, trying to watch it the first time, then just beware of sensory overload, because there's going to be a lot that's really good coming at you. So,
all right,
hey,
folks.
Pat, can we just put one shout out really quick? Matt Freze, Mahoney, you and myself are going to be on stage, actually, for anybody listening, in just less than a month on April 29th. Got the roast of me, Kelly Cutler, and it's fucking crazy. It's going to be one of the craziest shows ever. Pat's releasing tickets on Monday, I believe. Get your tickets now, because that place is going to be fucking rocking. You can see all these assholes live.
Pat's releasing tickets on Monday. Get your tickets now.
I'm a scalper.
Somehow.
$50 ticket.
Hey,
Transcend time and space to get those damn tickets right now.
we don't know. Like, people could listen every Monday. How the fuck do we know when they listen?
Yeah, this isn't released yet, assholes.
All right, we're now going to freeze second round of last words. There's like 27 rounds of it.
Yeah.
That's just the first.
So team go.
All right. And that concludes this week's episode. Everybody, please check out Enigma online. It's way better than our Redgate film. Search Enigma, Cutler Brothers Productions, Enigma. It's on YouTube. It's you'll laugh your asses off. And stay tuned for Redgate, which is the Enigma sequel, basically, but 1,000 times better. All right, peace out, everybody, and good night.